Well, it's April, and April is Limb Loss and Limb Difference Awareness Month. Wait a minute. It's not April anymore. Yeah, well, the last couple weeks have gone pretty quickly for me, and I haven't gotten all the videos done that I wanted to get done. Still, I wanted to get part 5 of You Walk Funny out there. It's pretty much the end. So if you have watched the other 4, here we go. If you haven't, hey, go back and watch the other 4. If you have followed along, you know that I grew up with a lifelong disability. My left leg was smaller and atrophied and had lots of problems. I had lots of surgeries. At 38 years old, I finally made the sacrifice to let go of something that I thought was important, that I thought I needed, in favor of getting something better. Letting go of my lower left leg in favor of a super deluxe robot leg. Although, to be honest, it wasn't all that super deluxe. I mean, it was basically as basic a leg as you could get, and it still is to this day, 5 or 6 iterations later. I don't know, how many legs have I had? Lots of different legs. Because you change size, you change shape, you change weight, and so you have to get different legs at different times in your life, and hopefully you get better legs and it helps you walk. But back at the very beginning, learning to walk again was interesting because I had a goal. I had gotten my leg in June, and by August, I was going to be at the 2006 World Championship of Public Speaking for Toastmasters as a finalist. And I didn't want to be in a wheelchair on that stage. I wanted to be walking on that stage, which meant teaching myself how to walk. I suppose it could have meant me going to physical therapy and learning how to walk, but I'm kind of stubborn. So I didn't do that. Taught myself, had to learn basically to trust the leg that was on what was left of my actual leg. You have to trust the process, trust the machinery. And once you get that trust taken care of, it works pretty well. I still limped because the rest of the leg that was still attached was still smaller than my right leg. Hip was still weaker. Muscles weren't there. Back had gone through 38 years of limping. So I was still going to limp. The old adage is that you get an amputation and your replacement, at least if you're walking, you're still going to walk about as well as you used to. You may not have quite the strength or quite the dexterity, but you'll have the same gait. Well, yeah, I still had the same gait, the limping gait that I always had. Good news for me, though, I was able to walk on that stage in Washington, D.C. Didn't take home first place, did manage to finish in the top 3 as third in the world. And I didn't even talk about my amputation. Don't know why. I guess I didn't want to use it as a crutch, ha ha ha, so to speak. But maybe I should have. Maybe I would have done better had I actually talked about what I had just gone through. Ironically enough, I did have a chance to talk about it a couple of years later at the 2008 World Championship of Public Speaking, except I didn't place at all with that speech. So who knows if I would have done better with it in 06 when it was fresher in my mind or not. Here is something I did learn in 2008, though, and I learned this from Brian Weedling, who is the director of the movie Speak, which took into account the journeys of many of the 2008 World Championship finalists as we went along on our journey to the World Championship. And then the movie Speak came out back in 2012. You can find it on Amazon Prime if you'd like to. Well, Brian is also a below-the-knee amputee. And he was talking to me about some of the things that I might not be ready for, that while I thought I was fully adjusted, there were still a lot of things I had to learn about what I was going through and what I would become. He had been an amputee a lot longer than I had, even though he was younger than I am. And he was always an athletic soccer player, and obviously he's out being pretty active making movies. I didn't really listen to him too much because I figured I'd already been through a lot. But since then, in the last 15 years, it's really proven correct as I have gone through not just physical issues, but frankly, some mental issues in terms of dealing with letting go of that real leg in favor of this uh, prosthetic. Not necessarily depression over it as much as just trying to deal with the differences that I have felt since then. The lack of consistency in my performance, the changes in who I am and what I do, the weight loss that I had when I lost a bunch of weight in 2014, it worked really well and I got around pretty well. But then when I gained a bunch of weight in the last few years through COVID, I went through a time when I couldn't even wear my leg and I was back to crawling through my house. I'm still happy I made the change because I would be in a wheelchair. I would be crawling around all the time if I still had the original leg because it just didn't work. But the adjustments that I've had to make have been a lot more widespread and a lot more unpredictable than I ever thought they would be. I discovered this just a couple weeks ago when I competed at my district final for Toastmasters in another attempt to get to the World Championship. The weight that I'm at, I'm having trouble walking at all. I'm using a walker. My asthma is acting up. We had the district final in Breckenridge, and I had everything stacked against me because I have allowed life to stack against me. And it's something that really bothers me. And it's a lesson that I am still trying to deal with, trying to figure out how to take it to the next level. Where am I going to go from here? I mean, I've been in this position before where things just didn't work and I had to do something to make it work, at least for me physically and as an extension emotionally. It has nothing to do with my work, it has nothing to do with me as a speaking coach, it has a little to do with me as a speaker in terms of what I can do on stage. But it's really something deep inside that I need to work out for myself. And you wonder why are you sharing this, Rich? Why are you doing this Facebook Live, telling us all these things about who you are and how you feel? Well, it's because I know that some of you are going through these things for yourself, not necessarily, probably not with a prosthetic leg, but with something in your life, something that you thought you had dealt with, thought you had made the right decision, and in fact, maybe you did make the right decision, but the consequences, the long-term results, maybe haven't been exactly what you thought they would be. The short-term results were great, the long-term not so great, or things changed. Who you were changed, your circumstances changed, and now you're having to deal with it in a completely different way. So we can't predict the future. We can't be ready for everything, but we can obviously control how we deal with whatever comes at us. You know, I'm dealing with this weight situation that I created for myself, which affects so many other things. I'm dealing with moving, having our house being sold out from under us after 13 years of renting, which I brought up in a video about a month ago. I'm dealing with a full-time job. I'm dealing with working on, some side gigs. I'm dealing with everything, which, hey, welcome to the world, right? What are you dealing with? You've got jobs, you've got family, you've got challenges, you've got everything I've got and probably more. Question is, how are you approaching it? Are you being open and honest, not necessarily with us on Facebook, but open and honest with yourself? Open and honest enough to sit down and take a real look at where you were, where you are, where you want to go. how you can get there. How have you not gotten there yet? How have you ended up where you are? It's worth a look. It's very much worth a look. Now, if you're wondering where you are speaking wise, if you've got a speech you want to give, a message you want to give, I'm your guy. I can help you find the best way to deliver that message to your best audience. I've been doing that for the majority of the last 20 years, helping people in all sorts of ways, whether they're salespeople, business owners, executives, just people who feel they have a message on their heart. I can help you discover, develop, and deliver that message. Just email me or comment below, and we'll get together for a little free call and figure out what we can do together to try to help you out. Might take a little self-examination, may take a little examination together to find out exactly where you want to go. Hey, if you've been at this far in the video, you know I'm all about examination, self and otherwise. We'll catch you next time. We'll start a new series, and I'll start focusing on May instead of April. Until then, make sure you go out and win anyway.